How's it going, everybody? This is the Stimulus Check Hub here, and today we're going to be talking about our fourth stimulus checks. The White House has finally made a statement about it. If you are new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below, and a like and a comment are always appreciated. So we've been waiting for a while to see what the government response would be to the call for more stimulus checks because Joe Biden is yet to really make a statement on it. The White House has really been keeping their cards close to the chest, so to speak. They're not really talking about it. But the White House press secretary, Jen Psaki, I think is how you say her last name, she was asked about the fourth round of stimulus checks. And basically what she said is that Congress should take the lead on this issue. So basically what she's saying is that Joe Biden is not going to make a comment on stimulus checks and that Congress has to really take the lead here. And this is a fair reply in my view because the fact of the matter is Congress is the most incompetent and slow and just ridiculously inefficient branch of our government. Congress, they get like 50 days off. They barely work. They put in like 4 hours a day and they think they're helping the people. It's really an embarrassment to the country. It's an embarrassment to everything that we were founded on. But the point is that Congress is going to have to make the first move on this. The president really can't do it himself. I would like to see Joe Biden put more pressure on Congress to do something, but at the end of the day, Congress is going to do what Congress is going to do. Congress controls the purse strings. Congress controls the money. So Congress is ultimately they're the people who are going to have to make this decision, and they are the people who are going to have to allocate these funds for our fourth stimulus check, so they're really who we're going to want to be looking at going forward. Now, I do think that Joe Biden would pass a fourth stimulus check if Congress were to approve it. I don't think Joe Biden would worry necessarily about the cost as much as a lot of people think he would. I don't think he is a hardcore leftist. He's much more of a moderate Democrat. In my view, I'm just saying in my personal view, I don't think Joe Biden is a leftist Democrat. And I think most Democrats would agree with that. Joe Biden is not a hardcore Democrat. He's a moderate Democrat. So I don't think he would have a problem passing another stimulus. I don't think it would take that much pressure to get him to sign off on one, which I think is ultimately a good thing. So basically the ball's in Congress's court now. We have to wait for Congress to make a statement on it. Now, we've already seen increasing calls from certain secretarial branches. We've seen petitions, 2.2 million signatures. That's a lot of signatures for a fourth stimulus check, 2.2 million. Remember, politicians want votes over anything. So if they start seeing petitions and calls for more stimulus come in because people are struggling economically because the economy is fundamentally rigged, basically, they're going to cave to that pressure. So that's how we're really going to get things done here, is by working together and recognizing that we really do have the power here. These people are not in charge. They work for us. They need our votes in order to be elected. So essentially, we are in control here. So it's good to see that there is a lot of pushback in terms of trying to pass a stimulus check. Now, for those of you who have watched some of my other videos, I have long since believed that the stimulus will not be coming in an individual bill. I believe it will come in the form of either a UBI or it will come in the form of some sort of jobs guarantee program. My rationale for this is pretty simple. I don't think the Democrats and Republicans really agree on anything generally. They always seem to find something to disagree with each other about. And you know the stimulus, there will be disagreements about it. They'll be arguing over $20 billion about some, completely irrelevant factor. Because that's just how Congress is, because they're incompetent and they're a satanic branch of government now. They were in my good graces. Initially, I liked Congress, but now they've gone totally off the deep end. But I think that you will see increasing pressure on Congress to do something. Congress will act if absolutely necessary. I mean, we saw during COVID, they did eventually act. They did eventually pass the first three stimuluses, and that was necessary. So they will act if they believe it's necessary. My issue, and the reason I think we're going to see a jobs guarantee program instead, I don't think a lot of the Republicans in Congress are going to go for another stimulus check. I think they're going to want to the extent they would do anything, it would be some sort of jobs guarantee program. I don't know how they would do it, but that's probably what they would be thinking. Because again, we can never agree on anything in this country. If a Democrat proposes something, a Republican has to disagree with it. If a Republican proposes something, a Democrat has to disagree with it. They can never agree. They can never work together. So you just know that whatever Congress proposes, it's going to be partisan. It's going to be very divisive. It's going to be very my side is right, your side is wrong, and just very childish and immature, which is, what we should expect out of Congress at this point. We're paying these people $200,000 a year, but they don't even do their job. But I think the important thing is that none of this really matters, because if they don't do anything, the entire system is going to crumble anyway, right? We're experiencing the downfall of a civilization and the downfall of a once great society, because Congress has a refusal to ever do anything that doesn't benefit themselves, which will ultimately be their downfall. Ultimately, your downfall is when you move away from God. If you move away from God too much, which Congress has, and now they're all about themselves and they don't want to help other people, that's when the system's going to collapse. That's when it's going to come to an end, because structurally you just can't make it work. Given the current layout, you just can't. The system is relying upon asset prices going up. It's relying upon cheap money. It's relying upon basically a lower class of people having to do all the work for like $8 an hour. That's coming to an end with automation, artificial intelligence. It's coming to an end with the fact that people are demanding higher wages now. We're seeing an increase in a specialization of the economy. So people are specializing more and more, demanding higher salaries. So this entire thing is it's coming to a very good end. And I'm really, I hate to say this, but I'm happy to watch Congress squirm. I really want to see Congress squirm and have to weasel their way out of this, because it's just going to be impossible this time. When the economy really does collapse because of their incompetence, I'm excited to see how they react to that, because I think there will be people at their doorstep. I think they will see a response unlike anything they've ever seen before from the people. I really believe that, because the people are on edge. I mean, we're very close to this system falling apart, and I think they know it, and I think that they're scared, but I think that they have to maintain their composure because they want us to believe they're in charge. But I think they know they're losing control of this. I think they know they've lost control of inflation. The Federal Reserve can't raise interest rates. I think they know there's too much debt in the system. There's no way they can possibly ever pay off that debt. And this is all coming to a beautiful end, and Congress is going to bear responsibility. They're not going to get away with it, I believe. I hope so. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens. I'm excited for it, because Congress it's sad because, obviously it's going to hurt us when the system does come down and the stock market falls in half and the housing market falls in half. It's going to hurt a lot of people. But at the same time, Congress deserves it. And a lot of the people out there who are trying to make, they're basically people who are buying houses right now thinking that housing isn't overvalued. The reality is going to win out in the end, and reality has a way of punishing those who go against it. That's just my personal view.